I was going to do something different today, supposedly. I wanted to actually discuss with you guys the Bangtan universe. And I was going to begin with Begins Youth, the series, and then go back and explain everything chronologically, as much as I can explain, of course. But you guys wanted me to go through the letter that Hee-jin sent to HYBE and the response of HYBE, and it specifically mentioned album pushing. This is the artificial way of increasing the sales of a specific album, specifically on the first week. So there were some things you were confused about, so I'll answer those questions. So this is what I'll do. I'll go through the major points of the letter that Hee-jin sent to HYBE, and then go to the major points of the response of HYBE, and then I'll just explain some of the things that I think some of the things that need clarification, and some of the questions that you asked. Okay, but if you want to read the entire letter of Hee-jin that she sent to HYBE, go to my Patreon. It's under the free membership, don't worry. And then HYBE's response to Hee-jin is also in my Patreon, also under free membership. Okay, let's begin. But please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And share the video if you can. Thank you. Let's go to the letter. Okay, let's first start with the letter that Hee-jin sent to HYBE. It was sent April 3, 2024, and it opened with her mentioning that she already sent a letter to Belift and to HYBE about her concerns of ILIT copying the concept of New Jeans. However, Belift has not responded other than to say that they are preparing a response, and HYBE has not responded. Okay, her first complaint is about advance purchase or album pushing. Advance purchase is when companies inflate the sales of an album and contribute to the first week's sales records by placing bulk orders of albums in advance with distributors and foreign labels. And then they fill the quota through fan events. Let me clarify. So HYBE, in this case, HYBE will ask the distributor to order more albums. And then whatever it is that they're not able to sell, they're going to ask their artists to do a special promo, appearance, or something so that they can sell more albums. Now, she's saying that this is going to artificially inflate the stock market. It's going to be harmful to the stock market because it's going to make the company be more valuable than it actually is. Now, HYBE suggested this strategy. They said that they can ask the distributor to order 100,000 copies more so that they can surpass the record of aespa, and she rejected the proposal. She said that New Jeans has already become so successful, and if the public learns that HYBE is doing something like this, then they're going to doubt the authenticity of the record and the career and success of New Jeans. She said that HYBE seriously lacks ethical consciousness. Okay, that's the first concern. Second concern, HYBE suggests that all labels select the best partnership in distribution, business, and services through fair competition. However, she disagrees with the 10-year deal that HYBE signed with UMG, because she said that what if she can find a better partner, better distributor in the future, and she can negotiate for a better rate, then she can't do that anymore because they're tied to UMG. She said that it's also going to limit the opportunities for New Jeans. Third concern, HYBE does not prioritize the advancement of label management system when it should be its main job. So this one is specific to brand deals and to PR. She said that we can be specific about this because they didn't mention the brand, but they mentioned the people involved, and it's obvious it's LV. So apparently, because New Jeans is so successful, she doesn't really have to approach brands. It's brands that are approaching New Jeans. And one of those brands that they are negotiating with was Louis Vuitton. However, somebody from Source Music also approached Louis Vuitton for Lesser of Him, and it created some kind of a conflict. The letter wasn't very specific what kind of conflict that was. And so they had to resolve that. They were able to resolve it. There was like a refund of a three-month period or whatever, but it wasn't clear what that was. But they felt that the synergy team of HYBE was favoring other brands over Adore. Another example is that in 2023, New Jeans was able to achieve so much in such a short period of time, but HYBE's public relation department didn't make any attempts to highlight the achievement of New Jeans. In fact, most of the time she said that she has to be the one, Adore has to be the one that would be requesting for specific press releases or for certain things to be corrected. So those are her three main concerns. Now let's go to the response of HYBE. Okay, now let's go to the response of HYBE. This was sent April 17. They said that Hee-jin has been casting doubt on the authenticity of the sales of different groups. That includes 17, TXT, and Hypen, or everybody's here, even groups outside of HYBE, IVE, TWS, of course, It, Rights or Ritz, I don't know how to pronounce it. In fact, Adore hired an external analyst to look at the numbers of IVE's albums. And when the external analyst said, yeah, it is organic, they continued to question the validity. Now, they categorically denied ever being involved in album pushing. They said that last year, 2023, they reviewed their numbers. So they sold 43.6 million copies of an album, but the last two albums had 140,000 copies returned. They realized that whoever was in charge of the returns accepted returns that they weren't supposed to accept because it is not indicated in the contract. And so they set up processes in order to avoid this. They said that in fact, if you go by the actual definition of what album pushing, it's actually Adore who did album pushing, because UMJ, Universal Music Japan, only wanted 90,000 copies of Hee-jin's album. They negotiated, so they got 150,000. They were left with 110 copies. So Hee-jin's members actually did a fan sign in order to boost the sales. So that, by definition, is album pushing. Okay, number two, the UMG contract benefits everybody. So for those of you who don't know, of course, if you're distributing an album, you're going to get a cut of the sales of the album. So just for the sake of discussion, let's say an album is worth $20. The distributor will get, let's just assume, 30%. Now, because HYBE is selling a lot of albums, they were able to pull down by 5%. So instead of the industry standard of 30%, they're only paying 25%. This is just an example, not actual numbers. Now, what Adore is arguing is that maybe in the future they can get a better deal. But that is hypothetical, speculative. You don't know if you can get a better deal. This is a pretty good deal, and they are the biggest distributor in the world. Okay, next, number three. Adore has already benefited greatly from the enhancement of label operations. So they were able to meet with the CEO of a sports company. I'm assuming this is Nike because they're signed under Nike right now. And this happened before they debuted. Even for China, they don't have a very good, South Korea and China don't have a very good relationship, but they were able to arrange for a special debut in one of the biggest, with the biggest streaming platform in China. Also for Lollapalooza, they were able to perform because J-Hope of BTS already headlined Lollapalooza the year before, so they already had a relationship. So they even provided support in the performance. So the performance team that was actually provided by HYBE. Even when they were doing the album of Hee-jin's, the business team of HYBE was able to save them 1 billion won. And so they're saying that they are criticizing the very thing that is benefiting them. The Adore is criticizing the things that are bringing them the benefits that they are enjoying. In fact, what Hee-jin wants is for other labels to ask for her blessings and permission if they're going to work with a brand that she has worked with, are working with, or may be working with. Now, they said that if you go by that definition, so this actually stemmed from Yerin and Les Sserafim because of Louis Vuitton. Now, they said that if you go by that definition, then Adore should have asked for the blessings of Big Hit because J-Hope is already the brand ambassador, global brand ambassador of Louis Vuitton. So she keeps on questioning the strategic move of HYBE, but she's enjoying the benefit of that. Next, shared services provide equal services among labels. Now, she specifically complained about one press release. On the day she wanted the press release sent out for Hee-jin's, other press releases were sent out for other groups. She doesn't want that. She wants nobody else to move when she is about to do something. But HYBE said that on the day they sent that press release, 9 other press releases were sent out. No other label complained. Now, in the past year, so they talked about like how many press releases they sent for New Jeans or for Adore, and in all told, they actually sent more for Adore than they did for Big Hit, who actually has nine artists, because you have BTS, the solo members, individual careers of the members, EU and NTXT, and then even more than Pledis, who has 17 in a row. Okay, so now they're saying that they want, the thing is that Adore wants to keep on emphasizing the achievements of New Jeans. But the truth is that if they go by what they want, by their principle, then it's actually 17 and BTS that are selling more, so they should get priority. So there is no logic in what she wants. It's very one-sided. She only wants to mention and highlight the achievements of New Jeans and downplay everybody else. In 2023, their legal team actually dealt with more cases for New Jeans and for her more than they did for other groups. So they're pursuing, of course, defamation cases against people that are writing things against New Jeans, but they're also pursuing defamation against people who are writing negative things about her. So no other CEO in HYBE is actually enjoying that. Next, they will do regular industry report, and that means getting reviews, feedback from fans, industry experts, journalists, and then they would gather this. This is qualitative, and it does not represent the opinion of HYBE. It's just that they're gathering comments and inputs from other people, and they would give it to the labels, and it's up to the label on what they're going to do with it. Now, Hee-jin insists that their review only consists of praises. So they felt like, what's the point of doing that if you don't, this is for you to improve. If you don't want any kind of criticism, then they're just not going to do that. Okay, next, they refuted any allegations of plagiarism. So that they said that they have reviewed the materials of the lift. There's no plagiarism, and they have never used the name of New Jeans. Now, they can't control other people if they want to compare them. In fact, within the company, there is a rule that they will not compare anybody to senior members or senior groups. The only time this was actually broken was because of Adore. So when Ditto topped the Melon Daily chart more times than they surpassed the number of times that BTS topped Melon Daily charts, the vice president of Adore wanted that in the headline, that New Jeans surpassed BTS. They pushed back, but eventually they relented. Now, when another publication, another media outlet wrote an article saying that ILIT surpassed New Jeans, the sales of the debut album, the vice president of Adore insisted that that should be changed, and it cost a steer. And the thing is that they can't control that because it's not under the payroll of HYBE, but the vice president of Adore insisted that that be changed, and all of those things. So they also emphasized that the claim that it was HYBE who delayed the debut of New Jeans, that's not true. It was Hee-jin who insisted of debuting them under her own new label. But Source Music, in fact, supported her, even though they didn't want to release the trainees. It was Source Music, they confirmed, that actually paid for the training costs, and they provided other types of support. So it is not their fault that the debut was actually delayed. And so they're initially questioning. They feel like Hee-jin knows that this is not a case of plagiarism, and that all the things that she's putting forward, they're not actually valid, that this is just a part of the plan for her to try and take over Adore, given all the other pieces of evidence that they have, including her meeting with external investors. And so they said that they at first they were like, why is she doing this at the time when, just before the comeback of New Jeans, she should be concentrating on this. But now they said that they realized that this is all a part of her big plan, and that they're very disappointed. Okay, so that is the response of HYBE. Okay, I was going to break down a lot of the things that she said in her letter to HYBE, but a lot of it HYBE already responded to. So I will touch on several more, and then I will answer some of your questions. First, advanced purchase. It's actually a legit marketing tactic. It has been done for several decades now, and it will continue to be done. It's simply the practice of trying to make the distributor buy more from you. because that's your goal. You want you want to sell more. So sometimes Target does this a lot. If you would notice, they would always say this is an Target exclusive CD. So it encourages people, the fans, to go to their store and actually buy those CDs. Or Blackpink actually went to Target, they promoted their album, they tried to sell more. Authors would go to different bookstores, they would do signing, they would interact with fans. All of these things, this is all in the interest of trying to get your distributor to buy more from you. In exchange, you give them foot traffic or digital traffic if it is a digital store. If you want to call it cheating, fine, but this is a legit marketing and business act. Okay, now I think she was referring, what HYBE'S is saying is something else, that they don't do any kind of fan event or force their partners to buy more just so they could inflate the numbers. But trying to get them to buy more by making special deals, that's legit. All right, next, exaggerating company value. She said that if you do something like this, it inflates the company value and it damages stock market and stuff like that. True, this strategy, just like any other marketing strategy, is criticized, but it is very, very effective. It is but natural for you to want to make your brand to look big, successful, and then eventually, if you do things right, eventually your faking will eventually lead to you making it, right? Yes, just like any other marketing strategy, this is well criticized, but still very effective. So effective that even she is using this strategy. She's inflating her own brand value. She keeps on telling people, nobody can do this, what I'm doing, only I can do this in the industry. That's her painting her brand to be bigger. She's making it appear as if NewJeans is the best performing group. In Adore, they're not. They're very, very successful, but they're not the best performing. BTS is, next is 17. So all of those are her inflating the value of Adore, of NewJeans, of herself. There is nothing wrong with that. That is a legit strategy. Again, okay, next. She disagreed with the 10-year exclusive distribution deal of HYBE with UMG because she said that maybe in the future she will find a better partner and negotiate for a better rate. Her concern is valid. Sure, maybe in the future you will find a better rate, or maybe you won't. UMG is already the biggest distributor in the world, and I'm sure there are provisions in the contract that will allow the partnership to make certain adjustments to improve the partnership and the performance of the distribution. So it's two separate schools of thought. You can continuously pursue a new partnership, try to come up with a better term. That's one school of thought. The other school of thought is that you stick it out with one partner, you choose the best, at least there is a set process, and then you just make sure that in the contract there are provisions that will allow you to make adjustments as you need them. So her concern is valid, yes. But then you also have another valid option that HYBE decided to pursue. Now HYBE owns the company and they own Adore, so it's their way. It's as simple as that. One is no better than the other. That's my opinion. Both has pros and cons, but the main difference is that Adore is owned by HYBE. Okay, she said that HYBE's capabilities often did not meet the expectations of Adore, but primarily it's about branding. She doesn't want anybody else to work with the brands that she's working with or negotiating with, which is just ridiculous. Again, it's nobody else's responsibility to make sure you get what you want. It's your responsibility to make sure you get what you want. If you don't want the brand to work with anybody else, it is your job to make sure your brand is so strong they wouldn't want to work with anybody else. For example, Chanel. When they worked with G-Dragon, they didn't work with anybody else for so long because G-Dragon's brand is so strong. After that, Jenny. They didn't work for such a long time with anybody else outside of Jenny because they didn't have to. Jenny's brand is so strong. It's your brand. It's your job to build your brand, nobody else. The thing about the internet is that it always comes through. It always delivers. Once you position yourself to be the best one or the original or the ethical one or the moral one, you're going to have to expect that people are going to come after you. And that's what happened. As soon as the choreographers of NewJeans accused ILIC choreographers of copying them, I knew people are gonna come after them to prove that the moves aren't actually theirs, and it happened. Now people are coming up with receipts that this specific moves are actually came from somewhere else or somebody else. A lot of them came from African American choreographers, street dancers in New York. And now, instead of art being that one thing that binds us, it is now again dividing us. Instead of just celebrating the achievements of this group, now people are at war against each other over something like this. For the record, I do not believe that New Jeans choreographers copied from anybody, the same way I don't believe that ILIC choreographers copied from New Jeans choreographers. It's just the nature of the beast, especially with dance. Certain moves are going to be copied and evolved, and then eventually it's going to be something else. That's just how things go. But you insist on telling everybody that you're the original and that people are copying you, and now it's out in the open. Now everybody knows that you are in fact not the original. You just as well, by your definition, also copied it from somebody else that you did not acknowledge. Okay, that was a long one, but I hope that I shed light in some of these things. I hope that I was able to highlight the important things in the letter of HYBE, the letter of Min Hee-jin to HYBE, and the response of HYBE. And I hope that I was able to address all the questions that you asked. I will be doing a more detailed, I'm going to do a summary of all of this. I'm going to upload it in Patreon. So follow me there if you want to understand the chronological events. I'll upload it in Patreon. And then if you have questions, please send them to me. For any clarifications or comments, leave them in the comment section below. You can say whatever it is that you want. Just please be respectful. Also, like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification button and share. Of course, please follow me on Patreon and also on Twitter or X and on Instagram. Thank you.